No, I'm going to start Zeller at the 5.
That just obviously for matchup with Whiteside, or bigger change there?
No, and the one thing I don't want to do is make a bigger deal of this than it is, but Sully got caught in a little bit of traffic this morning, and he was 4 or 5 minutes late to our walkthrough, and it's just, we had already gone through a couple of things, and so decided to do that. And again, not a trend, not a problem, not a short or long-term problem. I just felt like Zeller had gone through what we needed to go through, and then we'll catch Sully up in the next, before the game.
Speaking of travel, you guys are going to be leaving after the game tonight, correct?
That's the plan. We'll see. That's what I hear. So hopefully all goes smoothly. I don't know what the weather report is there right now, but I'm becoming an expert on weather patterns, and maybe in next career will be backup meteorologist.
How different is this Miami team with just the way Whiteside is playing lately?
I think it is different than the team we played the first time, just because of the way they play him defensively, and then offensively he's just so big. He is a rebounding machine. He blocks shots, and if you give him an angle around the rim, we just don't have anybody that can counter that. I think that obviously you got to do your best and to make him catch going away from the basket, and defensively, he's another guy like we played in the recent past. When you look at the Goberts and you look at guys like that like you can't shoot through him. You have to either go around him or drive and kick it to somebody else. He's too big.
How have you seen Chris Bosh's role, I guess, the way they run the offense through him without LeBron here and with Wade out?
Chris is, he's an all-star for a reason. I don't know what he would say about this. I think we all get caught up in roles being how much you score or how much they go to you in a given time. But I still look at what do you do? What do you do most often when you're on the court? And he does the same stuff. He can post, he can face up, he can drive it. He's driven it right and made big baskets. He's driven it left and made big baskets. He's a great shooter, both from the 2, and he shot it well from the 3 again this year. So he's a really good player. You can tell he's a guy that feels very comfortable in being the guy that sets the screen to get somebody a shot or makes the shot when it's all on the line.
I asked Sully this yesterday, figured I'd ask you as well. How much do you think practicing for your guys, practicing against other stretch bigs like Kelly versus Sully, Bass shooting on the perimeter, etc., prepares those guys for in-game experience against stretch fours as well?
Well, everybody's got them now. And you look at even, you look at some of the biggest shots the other day in separating the game were Mote Eunice's threes. And so you have to be able to defend the three-point line at the 4 and sometimes the 5. We talked a lot about it when Kelly was healthy, about the value of playing Kelly and Sully together was that you always had somebody very uncomfortable guarding the 3, because usually now in the league the 4s are pretty good at it. In the 5s it just depends on the 5. So it's hard. It makes it tough. Sean Williams is a problem coming off the bench because they play small and play him at the 4, and he's primarily a three-point shooter. He's certainly capable of other things, but you look at his numbers, his percentages, the percentage of attempts that are 3s, that's what he is.
Does it make an effect that your guys are seeing it every single day?
They see it in a little different regard. We don't have anybody that attempts 60% of their shots or 3s, so it's a little bit different. But certainly, having the awareness of I've got to be able to stop the ball and get back out, and the effort it takes to do both is a great challenge for anybody.
With Dawkins being called up, are you guys planning to take him to New York with you?
I don't know what his contract status is for the 10 days, when it's up, like what time it's up. I think it might be up today. Today or tomorrow. So that's a front office call. I've only spent an hour with him thus far, and I'm really familiar with him. I've watched him shoot it and everything else, but that'll be their call because they've watched him pretty closely in all the games up in Maine.
Did you get a chance to see what James did last night in Maine?
I did. I thought he shot it. Obviously, he shot it in. I thought, he got a good rhythm going, and it's good for him to see the ball go through the net. And it helps anytime you're playing extended minutes like that. I mean, he really looked. I thought he really looked good shooting the ball, which I was happy for him. I thought last week when we threw him in there, he looked a little bit more tentative, and that could easily have been coming off the flu too. I mean, he was sick for, a good 4 or 5 days, and so he didn't have a lot of reps even in practice time. So, hopefully he'll continue to play well when he gets those opportunities up there, and then when he gets his opportunities here, continue to grow and build and show good things.
He's talked a lot about wanting to really improve as a defender, knowing that's probably his best way to get on the floor. Is there a potential downside to that where a shooter like him looks to
Not for him.
Really?
Not for him. Offense is never going to be an issue, and I don't think defense is once he gets strong enough. And I think the biggest thing right now is that there will be some guys that he'll struggle to guard just physically, but once he continues to work the way he's working, he's good on both. He'll be good on both ends of the court. Defensively, he's had some real moments, and a lot of times they've been in games or moments where the other team may not quite be on point just because of the score or whatever. But he's had some moments late in games where he has made great defensive plays, especially on smaller guards. So that's been a real positive to see. And hey, I think we're going to see him sooner rather than later for us. A lot more than we have.
What do you want to see from him to kind of have more confidence in having it?
Well, it's a lot less about the confidence, Adam, than it is about there are other guys there too. I mean, you got to and right when he's about ready to get over the hump in the preseason, he has a shoulder deal. Then he's got this. He was sick before the West Coast trip. He's had some issues in that regard, and I think that it's just part of it as a young guy with other guys in the fold. When you look at our 2s and 3s right now, you're looking at Avery and Jay Crowder and Marcus Thornton and Tayshaun, and then you slide Marcus Smart over there a lot because Evan and Marcus can play together. It's a lot of traffic at those positions, but we'll see how it all plays itself out, and we may play smaller as we move forward too.
Coach, any predictions for the big game tonight?
I don't get into predictions. I'm not very good at them. I try to stick to the weather as much as humanly possible. So no, I don't want to, and I don't want anybody mad at me if I predict. Either team doesn't want to be predicted. Nobody wants to be predicted to win because then they want to use it later, right? So I'm going to be watching. Our team's going to be watching, and that's the reason why we're leaving at 10:30 tonight. Obviously, I think we all wanted to watch the Super Bowl, and then Gerald Wallace approved that. So everybody's being good spirits to watch it, hopefully.
Coach, have you had much exposure to Coach Belichick, and just from the standpoint of watching him from afar, what have you learned?
No, I mean he's an unbelievable coach, and he's done an unbelievable job, throughout his entire tenure. I think he's one of the guys that people across sports look up to. And I think when you talk about people in basketball like that, you probably talk about the Popoviches of the world. He's in that. Basketball people look at Belichick like people across other sports probably look at Pop. I just think it's an incredible thing what they've accomplished over time. It's incredible that they're back in that moment again and playing as well as they have throughout the entire year. I've exchanged text messages with him, but I've never met him in person. But he's certainly been good in those conversations, and he's one of the best to ever do it. I don't think there's any question about that.
Do you guys, is it coaching? Is that what you share information with?
Not yet. More just encouragement. More just, checking in and encouragement than anything else. First of all, those would be one-sided if it was coaching. It would be me asking him what the heck to do. So hopefully I'll get a chance to sit down at some point in the future and talk to him. Obviously he's incredible. Thanks.
Thank you.